Thanks so much, Pastor Monroe. And I guess this is a opportunity built on a crisis, because we are facing a crisis as it continues to unfold. And this administration has been staying ahead of the crisis. And I would say over and over again that when you look at other municipalities, you're seeing people sleep on the streets. You'll see people sleeping in airports. You'll see people really trying to manage a crisis that we're doing so. And over again, I believe we are a victim of our managerial skills with the deputy mayor and her team, and Pastor Monroe's, Pastor Salgado, and others who have just successfully addressed this issue in real time. That's ever folding. It's unfolding every day. And we have a tendency to believe that it goes away. But it's not. We're still receiving a large number of migrant and asylum seekers who are coming to the city and looking for care. And as we have always partnered with our faith community, back from our days, Pastor Monroe and I are part of Brooklyn Borough President. It was our faith leaders that they were with us throughout many of the tragedies that we faced, and particularly during COVID. They were there over and over again, opening their houses of worship as we stood with them to push to get their houses of worship open, because they played a vital role in the recovery aspect. And many of our food pantries, they are located in our faith-based entities, from our mosques, our synagogues, our churches, our Sikh temples. Our Sikh temples, they give out free meals every weekend. When I go and visit one, people are there to get meals, even if you're not of the same faith. So this is a natural fit. And it was incorrectly reported that we turned away faith leaders. We were in a process 4 months of sitting down with our faith leaders, trying to navigate many of the complexities that are associated with how to use spaces as a place for respite centers and for places that people can sleep, and at the same time maintain the worship and services that take place in our various houses of worship. The faith-based community has never been off our radar. They have always been part of everything we do here and planning around proactive and responding to a crisis. There's always a piece of this that we bring in our faith-based community. And so I want to thank Pastor Monroe. This was a challenging time, not navigating God, but navigating government. And getting government to understand that the rules cannot get in the way when you're dealing with a crisis is sometimes difficult, but we use the term GSD for a reason. God getting stuff done. And that is what the houses of worship that are here are doing. And so I want to thank all of these leaders that are behind us from different walks of life, different faith institutions. And no matter what faith you practice, it is in all of our faiths that we're supposed to care for those who are in need. Not only is it on the Statue of Liberty, but it is on our text that we look and read and study from. And just as a Christian, Scripture reminds us, love thy neighbor as thyself and welcome the stranger among us. And New York City has been living up to that. When you look at what we have done, over 70,000 migrant and asylum seekers that entered the city, as well as taking care of those who are here already in need of care. We have been doing that. So today, I'm proud to announce a new partnership with the New York Disaster Interfaith Services. They have been doing this work already during crises in the past, and it's just really something to think about when you see off the radar just doing the work every day. And we cannot thank them enough. Cannot thank you enough for what you are doing as representatives are here. But this will allow us to help our faith community shelter those in need of housing at using houses of worship throughout the 5 boroughs. The program, which delivers on our commitment in our asylum seeker blueprint. We laid this out in the blueprint, and now we are actually continuing to put in place the things that we stand in. We'll expand the amount of emergency shelter available to asylum seekers, helping to ease the strain on New York City's existing shelter system, and integrating asylum seekers into local communities. That's why this is a win-win. It's an amazing return on our investment. It is allowing us to have asylum seekers be a part of a community, because that's the best way for individuals to really incorporate themselves in the daily lives of New York City. Up to 50 houses of worship will be able to take part in this program to start with, offering shelter to a combined nearly 1,000 asylum seekers. Participating sites will offer safe shelter every day with meals, services, clothing donations, and the other services traditionally offered at our other shelter sites. Beyond opening their doors and providing these services, these sites will also connect asylum seekers with strong community networks. That is so important when you look at the feeling of isolation and not being part of a community. When I visited some of the shelters over the weekend, some of the HERCs, and speaking to the people there, they love the city, they want to work in the city, and they want to be part of a community and network in the city. And that's what the faith-based institutions are going to do. Through our hard times and difficult crises, our faith leaders and communities have been there for New Yorkers over and over again. And we believe this is the step in another direction that we can help address this crisis that we're facing. We're asking those who are interested in faith institutions can visit nydis.org to see the program requirements and fill out the survey to support asylum seekers. And even if you have a location that is not large enough to house someone, there's a role for everyone here, and we're asking all of our faith-based institutions to get involved and get engaged as they have been doing for so many years. This influx of asylum seekers is a serious crisis, one that New York City is facing largely on our own. It's unfair and it's not right that New York is going through this. Through May 31st, we spent over $1.2 billion on this crisis, already doubled what the IBO inaccurately estimated for this entire year. There's a lot of people putting out predictions on dollar amounts, but numbers don't lie. $1.2 billion since May 31st. Despite these staggering costs, the federal government has allocated less than $40 million in funding. That's enough to pay for 5 days. National crisis being paid by taxpayers in New York, and we receive from FEMA enough to pay for 5 days. Even with difficult circumstances that we've been under, I cannot say how proud I am of the team and the leadership of Deputy Mayor Williams Isom, who has just really managed this crisis and just showed, true leadership during difficult moments. Every other day, another aspect of this crisis reveals itself, and her team has been navigating over and over again. We saw what happened a few days ago at Lincoln, a correctional facility, and how she had to manage that crisis and make sure that we can get it up and operating. And I just really believe the record has not been accurately reported on what this administration and under her leadership, what it has accomplished. We supported over 72,000 asylum seekers, opened over 160 sites for asylum seekers to rest their heads and receive services, and help people in need get health care, education, legal aid, and so much more. We're doing our job here in the city, and we need this national problem to be addressed by our national leaders. We want a realistic plan that begins with a robust decompression strategy at our southern border, 108,000 cities, villages, towns. It's time for all of us to address this national problem. We want to declare a national state of emergency here in the state to get additional resources in. The federal government could do this, and we're calling on that. We want a real immigration reform and the Republican Party must stop preventing this from happening, and we have to allow people to work. There could be nothing in this crisis that's more anti-American than individuals coming to this country and they cannot work to provide for themselves. That is the cornerstone and the bedrock of America, your right to work. To come to this country and you're told that you cannot work is just unfair to those who are picking up the course, and it's unfair to those who came here to pursue the American dream. It is a nightmare not to be able to work to provide for yourself. Let's give the asylum seekers and the migrants the right to work and not allow politics to get in the way of people wanting to provide for themselves. We saw a few weeks ago, I stood with Governor Hochul and local labor and business leaders all combined saying, we have jobs available. Let's give them the opportunity to work in these fields. This would allow asylum seekers to start providing for themselves, something they say repeatedly. As I walked through the Roosevelt Hotel, I heard it in many different languages. People want to work. Let's give them the right to do so. With the support and partnership of so many, including our faith-based communities, I want to really thank them for being here today and inspiring others to step up and ensure that we get this job done. We have been doing it, and we're going to continue to do our part, and I'm glad to be here with our faith leaders that are stating they're willing to do their part. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.